Oh my god, I got my sticky rice right here. I'm gonna take my first bite right here. My hands are clean. This is a finger food for us. Think of it as a, this is as chicken wings or chicken nuggets or pizza. You're gonna use your hands. Of course, I have my own bowl right here. Guys, don't mind me eating. Stay tuned. I'm gonna teach you how to make this. Sabadi Pome Pinong. I'm Harris Pianabong and you're watching Cooking with Mr. International. Today you guys are in for a treat. I'm gonna be teaching you how to make the very famous Laotian Nor Mai. Bamboo. They come in different sizes. So I got a couple different sizes that are fresh. Luckily for me, I'm in California, so being able to find fresh bamboo is easy. Now, if you're not able to get fresh bamboo, don't worry about it. You can get these in canned versions. When it comes to canned bamboos, I like the harder texture ones, which is going to be the bamboo shoots. And pick and choose which one you like, or you can do a combination of everything. Maybe the bamboo shoots with the bigger ones. Of course, with the bigger ones, I'm going to have to like peel it and cut it to size and get rid of the hard edges so that we be more edible to eat, and I'll show you that later. You're gonna start by cleaning the bamboo and rinsing it out, then draining it. Now the next step is to take out the shells from the bamboo shoots. You're gonna start off by peeling it, then using a knife to open it open, and eventually working way through, you'll get into the edible parts, which is a lot more thinner. Once you get the desired bamboo shoots, you will then again rinse it and it'll be ready for use. So when you cut it, you want to go right in the middle. This is how I do it. Just flip it over and just cut it thin little pieces like that. With the fresh bamboo, if you don't want them too long, you just kind of cut them horizontally right here to kind of shorten it right here. Then right here, you just cut it in the middle. It's really no right or wrong way. Now this is fresh too. I bought from the Laotian market. But the convenience is that they are already pre-peeled already, so it's very, very convenient if you didn't want to go through all that steps. So I like to buy this too if I don't have time to cut it or peel it fresh. When it's a little bit more shorter, it's easier to cut. So more bite size, I would say. Like that too. Another technique is that people like to hit it like this. Smash it. Cut it. You don't have to smash it if you don't want to, but for texture you can. So just smash it like this. Different kind of texture. And cut it in the middle. Next step is that you want to boil a pot of boiling water, bring it to boil, and we're going to go ahead and add the bamboos in there. Boil the bamboo for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Run it over cold water and strain it. Let it sit and cool down. Later on, we're going to re-add it back into our bamboo Kaeng Hno Mai soup. So these leaves right here are called yanang leaves. Now yanang leaves is what we're going to use to make Kaeng Hno Mai. We're going to get the extract of it. And how we're going to do that is put it in a blender with water. Then we're going to blend it and then strain it with a strainer. And then with all its juice and its extract, we're going to put that in the Kaeng Hno Mai soup. So the yanang extract, what it does is gives the Kaeng Hno Mai its color. It makes the broth really like a leafy kind of vegetable broth kind of looking that is very dark. They sell the canned versions of them. You can use that too. In fact, that is the common thing to use. People usually just buy the canned version just to save some time. If you have more time, then go ahead and extract it yourself. If not, then just get the canned version. It tastes just as good. Guess what this is? It's the Japanese kubaka. I think that's how you say it. Kubaka. So this is the Japanese kabaka. It is they're squash. It looks like a pumpkin. Look at this cute little thing right here. I'm wondering, you guys probably wondering what this is. It's actually a Asian pumpkin, or they would say kabaka, which is originated from Japan. This little thing right here, full of flavor, is buttery. Texture is hard, kind of like a melon. You don't have to use this if you don't want, but it does add some color into the Kaeng Hno Mai. I like the orangey color in contrast with the bamboo, which is yellow. Gives the soup like a pop of color. So what I'm gonna do is peel this all around and cut it into small bite-sized pieces. Alright, you're probably wondering what I'm doing with this bowl of rice. It's not jasmine rice, this is actually sticky rice that is soaked in water for overnight. I'm going to be using this in my Kaeng Hno Mai bamboo soup to make my broth more thicker. It's widely used in Laotian cooking to make most of the soup more thicker. It's kind of like, think of it as cornstarch. Me adding my soaked sticky rice, pepper, shallots, and garlic, and lemongrass into my pestle and mortar, and I'm gonna smash it all in there. Now the pestle and mortar was the old-fashioned way when you didn't have a blender. So you would put everything in here and you just kind of smash it in like. So as a child, I always loved doing this. I always asked my mom, can I do it? Then pepper get in my eyes, so it was all bad. If you're a real Laotian, you probably have pepper fly in your eyes a couple times. It happened to me many occasions, and I can tell you, it's not fun. Not a fun experience. So when my mom goes, oh, ma khao de, ma khao hai me de, that means soak sticky rice before I come home, before I get a whooping. Because she always used this for her okai or to make Kaeng Hno Mai. So ma khao is the Laotian word of the day. So I have 4 pieces of shallots and a handful of garlic and my chili pepper and lemongrass. I'm gonna cut this all into small little pieces. Then I'm gonna smash it in my pestle and mortar along with my sticky rice. Then we're gonna re-add it into the Kaeng Hno Mai broth later. Right here I have the Asian zucchini. I couldn't get my hands on the Asian squash. It wasn't available at the grocery market that I usually go to. So I'm gonna use Asian zucchini today. The texture of this is, of course, tastes like zucchini, and that kind of mimics the Asian squash, which is hard in texture and kind of like cucumber-like. But this will do. Of course, this is optional. You don't have to use this. Now I have the pumpkin open, we're gonna dissect it. Ooh, get in there. Don't be shy. You wanna be swallowing these seeds. when you're eating Kaeng Nor Mai. I would hate to have these seeds bite into them. I wonder how it tastes though. It probably tastes good. This gives me the Halloween feels, you know, the pop of color, the orange. This next month, what are you guys gonna be for Halloween? It should be a sock and coke, huh? Pastel and mortar. After that, look like this. This is sticky rice that I soaked for a day. There's 2 cups in here, so I'm gonna use half of it because I like my Kaeng Nor Mai to be very thick. And then there's already water in there. Just gonna pour that in there. Some people put the yanang in here, so that way it could be more like the flavors can kind of like be infused in. But I do like this because I feel like either way it's gonna be flavorful already with the use of the shallots and the pepper and the garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the stuff that we sliced from earlier. Some lemongrass here, some of my garlic, my pepper, and my shallots. I use one of my hand to cover when thumbing this. Thumb means to smash. So the pepper juice can fly in your eyes, and trust me, it burns. It's like a self-made pepper spray. So wonder if I get pepper spray that would be immune to it, because growing up, all the maktet water always fall into my eyes whenever I have to smash this. My mom always makes me do this and I hate it. My mom always made me do this. Pepper always fall in my eyes. I freaking hate this shit. It hurts, it burns, like getting pepper sprayed. Oh my goodness. Not only Lao cooking is spicy, it's deadly too. It attacks you. So if you don't have the pastel and mortar, it's fine. You can use the blender too. I have a small cute little blender right here that is a perfect size for me, because once again, it's just my girlfriend and I that lives together. So this is a perfect size for us. Of course, I do most of the cooking, but this is what I use. For a bigger family, of course, you would just use a regular size blender. So I have some of the stuff here. I smashed some in here already, but you just blend it all together. Once you smash them all together, it should look like this. So they call it kabocha. So we're gonna add this to thicken our Kaeng Nor Mai later. So I have everything that I need that's going to be going into the soup, the Kaeng Nor Mai. I wash, cut, and rinse my mushrooms. I have different ones, but they all have something in common at the end. They have a root, so you just slice that off right there. Is really easy. Then you would wash it and rinse it and then get them prepared. So there's many different kind of mushrooms at the Asian market. Of course, what makes them different is the texture. So you kind of pick and choose what you want, and if they're not available, you can always get the canned ones. That works as well. Just drain it and do the same thing. But luckily, I got all my mushroom fresh. So if I could get it fresh, I'd rather do that because it's going to be more flavorful. This one right here, it's big, because it's the king oyster mushroom. They usually come in like a big size. You just kind of cut it into small pieces. There's another popular one called the beach mushrooms. They're always really white, but I like the texture. It's like kind of like poppy. This is the Whittier mushrooms. They kind of have like a different kind of texture to it that is very addicting. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like I always crave for it. Like this is what I always go for whenever I eat Kaeng Mai. I go for that first. This mushroom right here is full of flavor. It's the Shimeji Japanese mushroom. You put in stir fry, it's really buttery, or in hot pots. This right here is the Enoki mushroom. I'm using this. It is really thin, but I really like the texture of it. They use this in a lot of hot pots too in many Asian countries. I have a pound of spare ribs. That's optional, but I just like the fat of spare ribs. It kind of like melts. So when I eat it with bamboo and mushroom, it just tastes so good. Sometimes you eat it with jasmine rice or sticky rice. It's just really good. It soaks all the flavor. These are quail eggs. They're a delicacy in my country. You don't have to use it. Maybe it's kind of like too exotic, but it tastes just like an egg, but it's just more like a condensed, creamier taste to it. So I challenge you, if you're willing to explore and you want to taste something that's a little different, you'll probably be addicted to the quail eggs. It's really good. Spare rib has that dried meat, but it has a lot of fat in it, so I like it. This right here is a rice patty herb. I don't know how to describe it, but it is very like, not like mint, but it just has this smell to it that it's just like sinful. I have in here is my yanang extract that I did in the blender earlier. So I'm bringing it to boil. It should look like this. We're gonna start off by adding the bamboo that I boiled and drained from earlier. Gently put them in. I have gloves on, so not, you could just use tongs, whatever you want to do. Put the bamboos first because I want it to soak in all that flavor. We'll get to the ingredients in a bit. My next step is to add all the ingredients. Right here I have about 3 tablespoons of chicken bouillon. Some people don't use this, they just use MSG, but I do use both. So the bigger the serving size, the more you would use, but of course it's always by taste, so you don't really have to use this if you want, but authentically, if you want the Kaeng Mai to taste really good, you have to use some of this. If not, then just use fish sauce. Using 1 tablespoon of MSG. I try not to use this much because not as good for you, of course, but in the Laotian culture, the use of MSG is very common. Our diet is very high intake of high sodium, so it's in our diet and we're used to it. Don't be shy with MSG because you got to remember it's in Doritos. It's in what, Chick-fil-A, or the new Popeyes chicken that people are saying is selling out. KFC, pretty much anything that you can think of has contain MSG, even the soy sauce. So you go have sushi. So I would say moderation is key. You don't want to use it, just use salt. But authentically, we use MSG along with fish sauce in all of our cooking. I am using about, I believe this was 4 tablespoons of fish sauce. I'm using less fish sauce because there's a lot of salt in here already. So in Laotian cooking, you always go per taste. So once I put everything in, I will add more as I go on, because having the same consistency is not always going to come out the right way. But of course, you can fix it. If it's salty, you add more of this and that. So that's how Lao cooking goes. This is fermented fish sauce called, like preserved fish sauce is called padek. This is very, I would say, authentic and very exotic. So if you are not accustomed to doing this and used to padek, don't use it unless you tried Kaeng Mai yourself and you love it. So I use about 3 tablespoons of padek. It doesn't have the best smell, but man, it tastes so good. I promise you. It's like steaming in my face. I can smell this already. Smells so good. I'm gonna go ahead and add the mushrooms that I mentioned earlier. When you look into the boiling pot, if it looks like it's too full, don't worry because they're gonna shrink. Gonna add my spare ribs. I'm using about 1 pound. You can use less if you want. Our delicacy, the quail eggs. I want to add my kabocha, my rice that I soaked and smashed from earlier, but I'm gonna do it later on because when you put the rice a little too early, it might burn on the bottom of the pot if you are not careful. So if you're cooking for your family and you're busy and you want to add the grounded rice early on, you just have to be careful because it will burn. And having a burnt taste in the soup, it just kills. Once I kind of stir everything in, I start putting in my squash and my pumpkin. So I stir occasionally and I have this on medium high. If you're in a rush, you can cook it faster or a higher heat. But this is the type of food that tastes better the next day. So you don't want to overdo it with the salt because as the soup absorbs all the salt, the next day it might be too salty. I have my Kaeng Mai boiling for about 10 to 15 minutes now. I'm gonna go ahead and thicken up my broth by adding the grounded rice that I did from earlier. Now you gotta be careful with this because if you add too much, it's gonna be too thick. So it's really up to you if you want it watery or more thick. For me, I like my broth to be a little bit more thicker for my Kaeng Mai. So I did ground about like 1 cup of rice. So what I'm gonna do is add in probably half a cup first to see how it goes. This is freaking awesome. Full colors. It has lemongrass in there, pepper, shallots. Pop a color. Look at that. Wow. This is sexy. You cook with love, the food tastes much better, right? Now that I add my sticky rice in there, gotta be really careful because it thickens up pretty fast. But you want to cook it on low because when you put the rice in there, you have to cook it. I'm gonna go ahead and add my rice patty herbs. Depending on how spicy you want it, you add the pepper to taste. I can eat very spicy, so put a lot in mine. Look at that, that is so beautiful. Stir it all in there. Oh my god, the thing of a beauty. I love eating this in fall. It's the pop of color. Very healthy meal, I would say. They said that the bad part of it is just the high sodium. Other than that, it's really well balanced. When you eat it with jasmine rice or sticky rice, it just kind of like the rice absorbs all the saltiness, so it becomes more settled. Oh, the smell of the pakayang, the rice patty herbs, smells so good. มาเด้อมากินแกงหน่อไม้สดน้ำกันเด้อใส่กระดูกหมูกันแซ่บอ่อนๆกระดูกหมูนี่ Sing in my language that come eat. The rice patty herbs smell so good, and this is perfect for this weather. And the spare ribs gonna be like butter. As you can see, my broth had thickened up. I don't want the flavors to overpower each other. This has the perfect amount of padek in it, the saltiness of the fish sauce, and the chicken bouillon, and the saltiness of the MSG. Everything is perfect, but I like mine a little bit more saltier and more chickeny, so I added 1 more tablespoon of the chicken bouillon and 1 more tablespoon of the fish sauce, and voila, it's perfection. Hashtag perfect. Alright guys, this is my kaeng Nor Mai. Look at the pumpkin. The bamboo, oh my god. I like to eat very spicy, so first bite with the pepper. This is so good. Mushroom. My sticky rice. So เมกาเขาเอิ้นซากกระเบือกับโคกนี่ mortar and pestle.